You mentioned earlier some pretty hairy situations. You're in a safe house, gets compromised, et cetera. Is there one situation that's like the most dangerous that you could describe in some degree of detail in terms of either you were like, oh, fuck, like we're not getting out of here, or in hindsight, it may have been really, really bad, but maybe you didn't even realize it at the time?
Couple times. I got to be careful, how I word this, but yeah, one time I was in a safe house and there were not very many of us at all, just less than 10, in an area that where nobody else was. Mm-hmm. Nobody else was down there. And when you start getting into surveillance and counter surveillance and spying on people, one of the rule number one is don't be time and place predictable. Don't use the same routes. Don't leave your house at the same time. Don't go to the same spots every day. Everything has to be random. You don't want to create what we call like a pattern of life. Mm-hmm. Or if you do create a pattern of life, you want it to be a false one. Mm-hmm. You want the pattern of life that everybody else sees. It's a facade.
Mm-hmm. You're doing it intentionally.
Yes,
because you're using
I
it almost
want
as bait.
everybody to see me go to Starbucks at 8:00 in the morning every single day. Mm-hmm. Everyone from I want everybody to see me go to the gym right after Starbucks. And that would be like a something here. Mm-hmm. So you kind of create your facade. Well, we weren't doing that at this spot, and remember I was talking about at the SEAL teams, there was the guys that had been in for 20 years who hadn't done anything, and then you have the assholes like me that come in and we'd go do it right away. Well, same with the agency, similar. You got all these guys that had been, during the Cold War, they came in, they were doing all these Cold War tactics with Russia, and all that stuff, and then they throw them in Iraq, Afghanistan, Yemen, wherever, right? Mm-hmm. And they're still using those tactics from a Cold War environment, trying to get those to work in a wartime environment where everybody wants to kill you. It's not a permissive environment. Everybody wants to fucking kill you here. And you'd see a lot of these guys coming, making transitions from that kind of a career into a wartime environment, and it just without any training or very minimal, and it didn't work for a long time because it was all they cared about was collecting intelligence. It wasn't. Hey, we're going to be here for a while. Let's not draw them into where we live. Well, nobody wanted to listen, and I'd mentioned. I said, hey, we're being really time and place predictable. We've been to this place, I don't know, 3 times in the past week. We need to find different routes. We need to alter our times. We need to, meet these people at different places. They didn't want to do it. The very next day, we got hit. And turns out we did get compromised. We had over 100 Taliban fighters closing in on our position, and bullets flying everywhere. We really couldn't engage back because we couldn't see where everything was coming from, or it was too far for us to engage. And we actually, that started early in the morning, and I don't think we got pulled out until 2 or 3 a.m. at night by the British. They had to call in British guys to come get us from somewhere else. Mm-hmm. And
you're just like,
I didn't think we were making it out of that.
You're just like sitting on your hands like, oh, fuck? Or are you guys at least shooting what you can and trying to fight back?
I mean, we're shooting what we can, but there was a couple of different positions. They had taken over a high-rise building that overlooked our neighborhood, and we couldn't see where they were shooting from. So yeah, you could shoot at the building, but you can't see where the hell it's coming from. And they were throwing grenades at anybody that tried to get out, get up the building. They would just throw frags, RPGs, whatever. And then they had another position where these Taliban fighters were massing, and then it came out. It actually came out in the news the next day that they were there to get us, and a lot of things like that happened.
And so, in those situations, you are operating with obviously what you guys can see. Are you also getting communications like they know that these fighters are amassing? They're able to kind of give you almost the play-by-play. I think of a lot for those that may not know as much about this. It's kind of like a football game. The football game's getting played, but they have coaches up in the box who can kind of see the full field. Are you guys getting like intel reports and stuff like that, and you're using that to try to fight back, or is it pretty much, hey, we're doing the best we can to get you there, get there to get you guys, but you're on your own right now?
We were on our own. It was, we're probably going to die. Let's destroy all the classified information and hope for the best.
Okay. Go down take as many of them with us as we can.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. And how do you think about fight or flight in those situations? And what's fascinating to me is you've pretty much already said, hey, we're likely to die here. If we try to run to the vehicles and go on a high-speed chase, it sounds like you're pretty far. It's not like you can just drive down the street to a military base where there's help or anything like that. If you stay and fight, it sounds like you probably think we're going to get overpowered here at some point. Is it just out of necessity you stay, or is there a calculation between like try to run versus stay and fight? Like,
there's just nowhere to go.
Yeah,
and I mean, yes, it could have been me and the two other operators that were on the ground could have evacuated out of there. But when you have,
what are you gonna do with everybody else?
When you have a chief who's doesn't take care of himself and he's overweight because he eats fucking hot dogs every night, and you have women who aren't going to do well, leaving. You have all that ammo there, you have all the classified information there. It's just not an option.